And now, it's time for Ted Nugent's Spirit Campfire with John Brenkus. It's the physics of spirituality with attitude.
I will not have. It doesn't satisfy me. I don't believe in the status quo. John Brenkus, do you have a spirit campfire or don't you?
Woo! I wish I had my lighter and the whole thing. I'm so excited. I'm filling the entire screen twice.
If ever there was a theme song to the Ted Nugent Spirit Campfire with Johnny B. Brenkus, it would be
That's right.
A simple life I will not have. It doesn't satisfy me. I don't believe in the status quo. It kind of leaves me weak. A mountain high is what I climb. I swim a river deep. So if you crave the time of your life, try to keep up with me. I'm gonna live, I'm gonna fly, I'm gonna soar to the day I die. On the wings of a bird of prey. You're absolutely right. Well, look at me, that's a smile on my face. You know it don't come cheap. Sure, I live the American dream. Go ahead and crucify me. I'm gonna live, I'm gonna soar to the day I die on the wings of a bird of prey. Hey, hey, hey! The American dream is exactly what I crave. And more importantly, John, the American dream is what I demand. And by maybe even more important than craving and demanding the American dream, it's actually what I've got, you know, because I work really hard. So let's celebrate tonight that this is, what is it? You keep track for me. Is this number 8 or 9 or something like that?
Dude, who's counting?
Who
We're having this much fun. You don't need to count.
Who cares? By the way, I'm not counting, but I am accumulating maximum vitality. It's almost like we are Maximus. What's that? We are the gladiators of truth, logic, common sense. And even though we know there's some really stupid stuff going on out there, have we or have we not proven that amongst insanity and chaos, if you let the insanity and chaos metastasize while you fight against it, you can have a spirit campfire with John Brenkus and still just stink of positive energy. And by the way, I don't know if you can tell how wet and sweaty my shirt is, but I've been so busy grappling with Mother Earth today. By the way, I spent half the day in her cleavage. I'm doing a new TV show.
Hold on a second. Do I get to say...
Mother Nature has cleavage, but the point is, this is such positive energy. Thank you, John Brenkus, for plugging everything in and making this happen, because I'm in my living room with my guitar and my dogs.
That's right. Now, Ted, before you came on, you said to me, you're like, man, I stink. And I said, you're right. I can smell you through the screen. You said, no, you can't, because you're still standing.
That's right. If you could smell my vapor trail of actually work ethic has an aroma. And I actually enjoy a good aroma. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and go in tangents. By the way, John Brenkus, if you notice in the short time we've known each other, that if anybody has perfected tangents, it's your old buddy, Ted. So anyhow, my buddy Troy and Troy Jr. drove a truck down here with a bunch of our animal heads, these beautiful taxidermy mounts that were garnishing the spirit of our new home. And when one of my friends got out of the truck, my nose hairs started to smolder because he had some kind of damn aftershave or perfume on him. They're watching right now, and I love you guys, but I think I might have fixed his his French horror stinkiness. So all you guys out there, the girls don't like stinky perfume aftershave. They like the body odor of a hardworking man. Just a little note from the old guitar player.
Yeah, a little bit of a note. Now, I, on the other hand, smelling another man is not my thing. It could be somebody else's thing.
That's why you're here with me.
That's right. So it's not my thing. Now, Ted, we have thousands, plural, thousands of people tuning in right this second to join us around the Spirit Campfire. We've got people from Maine, Minnesota, California. We have Alaska. Do you know Alaska is one of the few states that's not shut down? Tim Montana is going to tour in Alaska for 2 weeks.
Alaska is one of my favorite places. In fact, at some point, I have a song. See, we have another amazing guest on tonight. I can't wait to get my blood brother Yank along here. But I have a song called Alaska that I wrote in the wilderness of Alaska in September of 1977 when I was with George Fairbear outside of McGrath. And I was hunting with my trusty bow and arrow in 1977. And like all my songs, it's inspired by the environment, by the setting, by the spirit, by the aromas, by the power of Mother Nature's healing sensations. So at some point, I'll play this beautiful song, Alaska, because I have a lot of friends in the great last frontier state.
So, Ted, I want you to tell everybody before we bring on our guest, which is this could be, now mind you, we've had amazing shows, and you've had everyone from the damn Yankees on. There's one just lying out there who hasn't been on yet, and I'm priming the pump because everybody, we're going to break Facebook. We're going to break Facebook by you guys hitting the heart, hitting the thumbs up. That allows all of Ted's 3.5 million followers to know that this is going on right now. That's how we break the algorithm. So give us a thumbs up, give us a heart. And Ted, I want you to lead in two things. One, we have to go to UncleTed2020.com. Why? You're doing a free webinar? What are you doing here?
Well, by the way, again, thanks to everybody. I get this, we call this the Spirit Campfire, but that was inspired by the fact that when I get on Facebook, back when Shemaine showed me how to get on Facebook, it was like not just a campfire of exchanges of ideas, the good, the bad. Well, actually, it was almost all good, but occasionally the bad and ugly squealed on, just so we would be reminded that there is bad and ugly out there. But my Facebook banter and idea exchange and sharing of information, and it's the educational, the intellectual, and the spiritual content of the dialogue on my Facebook is so inspiring. So thank you, everybody. And one of the most important things that they ask me all the time is, where did I get this crazy Ted Nugent grinding, grunting, throttling guitar style? And so we're going to create a Ted Nugent double live Maximus soul cleansing gonzo guitar webinar that goes into the details, the minutia of where the spirit meets the physics of my guitar playing and my guitar inspiration. So that'll be coming up. So you go to UncleTed2020.com, UncleTed2020.com, where we're going to start taking registrations for people who want to swan dive into the broiling black rapids of Ted Nugent's American blues rock and roll inspiration.
Yes, that's right. All you guys have to do is go to UncleTed2020.com. I know a lot of people are like, hey, Ted's going to run for president. Ted's going to run for president. Who knows? Ted could live to be 130, and he just might run for president.
I have a lot of hunting seasons ahead of me. I hope so.
That's right. So if you go to UncleTed2020.com, sign up for the free webinar. There is limited registration, so go there now. Come back into the room. Let me know that you registered. We'll give you a shout out. And Ted, I want you to introduce our guest, because our guest tonight is someone who I've been waiting for personally, because I've been a massive fan for a very long time.
We talk about the power, the spirit of the soundtrack of our lives. And I go back to when Les Paul just electrified the guitar, and Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley and the Ventures and Lonnie Mack and Duane Eddy taught us what to do with it. And we, from Billy Gibbons to Ricky Medlock to Michael Cardelloni to Jack Blades to Jason and Greg, just the most wonderful guests we've had on. It's been a real upbeat, piss and vinegar vortex of positive energy, mostly propelled by the incredible work ethic of my fellow musicians to create this incredible soundtrack. So I give you my damn Yankee, the soul brother #1, the Wilson Pickett from Montgomery, Alabama, Tommy damn Yankee Shaw. Tommy Shaw is our guest tonight. Do you have Tommy nearby?
Tommy is not. Tommy is coming in. Tommy is literally just told us he's running a few minutes late.
That's fine.
So
that's fine.
We are going to do the thing that we do, which is fill a little bit of time until Tommy Shaw. And this is so thousands of people can go to UncleTed2020.com and come back and tell all their friends that Tommy Shaw is coming on.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I talk about my earliest inspirations when I was a mushy-brained child, which we all are, and we are to absorb the information and the dynamo that we're surrounded by. That's why I have such a wonderful, positive experience every day of my life, because of the love and the discipline. Wait, I think it was discipline and then the love in my household that my sister Kathy, my brother Jeff, and my beloved brother John, who passed away earlier this year, which we're going to do a tribute here soon, though I do one every day for John, great American. But that environment that I was raised in was saturated with the founding fathers of the greatest music in the world. And again, I mentioned Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley and Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis and Elvis Presley and his incredible band, and certainly the Lonnie Mack and Duane Eddy and Link Ray and the Ventures, and then all of a sudden it morphed into things like the Beach Boys and all these Motown classics. But as I mentioned that, John, all these guests that we've had on from Jack Blades and Michael Cardelloni and Greg and Jason and Ricky Medlock and Billy Gibbons, they've all been nonstop inspiration. And if anybody has qualified as an inescapable inspiration, it's the time I've spent with Tommy Shaw. And when we created the damn Yankees, it was literally a sonic bombast musical outrage orgy of tossing ideas back and forth, because he and I think Tommy's a little younger than I am, but he and I were weaned on that same outrageous music. And some of our future guests, like Tom Morello, just a killer guitar player, and my old buddy from the MC5, Wayne Kramer, we're working on them coming out as soon as possible. So inspiration is not just when you're young and seeking new outrage and new adventure, but it continues to this very day. I was in the studio with John Kutz and Johnny Big at Bland Cromwell's studio recently here in Waco. And I'm going to tell you, John, I said this last time when we had Jack Blades on and Ricky Medlock, the inspiration, it never ends. It is like a tsunami of ideas.
Here's what's crazy about the damn Yankees, and everybody in the Facebook room is saying, I spent all week.
I'm what's crazy about the damn Yankees.
Well, nothing's crazy about it. Everyone said, I spent several hours listening to the damn Yankees. That's from Michael John. And said, listen, we had to break out our old damn Yankee songs and listen to them over and over and over on repeat. There is something about the damn Yankees, and we talked about this last week a little bit, that the damn Yankees were together for 2 years, right? Touring for 2 years, 2 solid years, right? 2 albums.
Nonstop.
Nonstop. And there was never a third album, not because you guys didn't want to do it, but because you literally were never in the same room at the same time after that tour. So you kind of went on hiatus, and you guys have been on hiatus now for a very long time. And a lot of people are saying, hey, when's the third album coming? When is the next tour coming? When are you guys getting together? And I'm here to say that maybe this pandemic is a little bit of, maybe there's some divine energy working, because I think we might be able to get everybody together at some point around the Spirit Campfire.
Our spirit to pursue such a rendezvous is indefatigable. I promise you that. But I think what you saw from Michael Cardelloni and from Jack Blades is that we are all inspired by a mutual respect for each other's musical credentials. And again, Michael was a newcomer to the world, though he'd been playing with Tommy, and he had created a reputation and an integrity of groove and rhythm and just band support, that he came in maybe not known like Jack or Tom and I were, but he immediately established himself. So nothing is impossible. I've never said, no way, the damn Yankees are never getting back together. I've never declined it affirmatively. In fact, I've always done just what I think Tom and Jack and Michael have always done, is that we would cherish the opportunity to collide somewhere geographically and unleash the inner damn Yankee beast, because the inner damn Yankee music is a beast. And so I can't wait to get Tommy Shaw in here right now, because we had nothing but a damn riot together.
That's right. So Tommy Shaw is going to be coming on now. Now Tommy Shaw was in Styx, and I don't know if you saw. Now look, you know every story, right? And I get to get the secondhand stories. You have the firsthand stories. How different was the experience of Damn Yankees to Styx when the first time you saw Tommy Shaw? Because I know that just because I'm a massive fan, Tommy Shaw really wanted to rock out, and he always felt like Styx wasn't allowing me to rock out as much as I wanted to. And then he gets to the Damn Yankees and it was all fair game.
Well, he's the real McCoy. He didn't need me to give him the Mother Teresa welcome into the hinterland of sonic Motown grinding bombast. However, if the Beatles song Ticket to Ride resonates, then maybe I am Tommy Shaw's ticket to rock. And again, he didn't need that ticket because, Renegade. I insisted when we put the Damn Yankees together that I played Don't Tell Me You Love Me and Rockin' America by the Night Ranger, because I was a huge admirer of that pulsation. And the same with Tommy. When I think after the second or third minute together and we realized we had something that was on fire here, I said, I want to play Renegade and I want to play Blue Collar Man. Maybe some of the other songs didn't tickle my fancy. In fact, if you tickle my fancy, I will retaliate. But anyhow, there was an organic admiration and an organic craving to unleash our musicality on those classics. By the way, Renegade and Blue Collar Man, massive ass-kicking real rhythm and blues rock and roll songs. And Tommy played lead guitar in those, so he didn't need me to play lead guitar in those, though I insisted. And so he's a world-class guitar player, world-class vocalist, a world-class songwriter, and a world-class bandmate. So I can't say enough good things about him.
Yeah. Well, I think Tommy's getting ready to come in. And before we do, I want you to pick up the guitar if you can. And I want you with High Enough. A lot of people last week were like, play that solo from High Enough. Play it, play it, play it. Give us a little treat if you can.
I don't think I can play it right now. Not without the band. I can't remember exactly how it goes.
You can't remember it exactly.
I need those, but I know I went into them. Just greasy, grinding notes. Now that we have his Shawness amongst us, Tommy Shaw, welcome to the Ted Nugent Spirit Campfire, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I saw you got the plaid shirt memo.
I'm telling you, I did. Is that what that was? Actually, I was telling John I've been doing chores all day, and I thought if I brought a really greasy, sweaty shirt, it would make more of a soulful jam session with Tommy Shaw. Tommy, I got to tell you, I could go on and on about all the things I know about Tommy Shaw, and I'm sure you've done 10 million interviews since I've done 21 million interviews, and you've told the story. But here's this kid. Were you born and raised in Montgomery, Alabama?
I was born in Montgomery, Alabama. Then I was raised till I was 12 in Prattville, Alabama, just the county up north of Montgomery. And then in '65, I came back. I moved to Montgomery again, so I went to junior high, and that's where I really got my music career going. From my front porch on Madison Avenue, and we moved there from a little cul-de-sac in Prattville, and there was lots of it was like 2 or 3 lanes of traffic. We had this nice front porch, so I set my amplifier up there and I just played to traffic. It was awesome. That was my stage.
I got to tell you, John, what Tommy just said spontaneously, it's like when we had Billy Gibbons on or Ricky Medlock, and I know I'm going to have all these other killer guitar players on. I tell you, you could literally put my head on Tommy's shoulders and take any one of my interviews, and there'd be a variation of that. It might have been a different town and a different street, but I got to tell you, I did the exact same thing in Detroit. I made sure my amplifier was in the window, and I'd rush home really fast. And so when the girls come home from school, I make sure I rocked out to the best Lonnie Mac or the best Ventures lick I could possibly summon. I don't know what it was about the, it's almost like a tractor beam to Wang Dang Sweet Poontang. So you're born down in Alabama, and all of a sudden I see you the first time with Styx. What did you do before Styx? I mean, I don't know that story.
Well, I played in every possible kind of configuration of bands in Montgomery that I could, and I would sub sometime for Bobby Moore and the Rhythm Aces. You remember them? Searching for my baby.
Oh yeah.
Searching for my baby. I'm searching for the one I love. So I got a lot of education playing with Larry and Bobby Moore, but mostly I was playing in. The first stuff that I was doing was playing standards. At my first gig, I was playing the bass and wearing a dinner jacket and playing standards at the country club in Montgomery.
Now, I never did a country club, but I played a lot of standard. I bet you played Knock on Wood, Hold On, I'm Coming. I bet you played Papa's Got a Brand New Bag.
All that, yeah. When I was in high school, the last 2 years, I was playing 5 nights a week at the Copa Club, way out on the edge of town. And we were a late night club, and so people would come there after the other clubs. And so I basically slept through the last 2 years of high school. But yeah, we played. What we would do, we were a 4-piece band, Fender Rose piano, B3, me, and a drummer, and we played all the hits, the soul hits. So we would learn just enough to where we could play it, and then we'd just make up the rest and jam on it. And so I was never really in a rock band until I left and came to Nashville, and MS Funk. Well, they were called Smoke Ring at the time. We changed our name to MS Funk, but we were a pretty heavy rock band, I guess.
So did you ever play Good Lovin' by the Rascals?
Oh yeah.
Everybody did. So now here it is. What year were you born, Tommy? Go ahead, play that.
Play it.
I was feeling so bad. I asked my baby doctor just what I had. He said, Doctor, feel me.
Doctor,
Can you tell me what's ailing me? He said,
and see, that was Gene Cornish, and he played a big fat Barney Kessel Gibson. He was one of the rare guys that played a fat jazzy guitar like I ended up playing.
He lived in my neighborhood when I lived in New York. I'd run into him on the street every once.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You know, when the Rascals played the Midwest, they hired the Amboy Dukes because we had the best PA system. So here it is, 2020. So you're out there playing with all these different bands. How the hell did you end up? Now, Styx was, I would call it semi-established in the Midwest, coming out of the Chicago area, right?
Yeah, they had released 4 albums, and I was at the time, my band MS Funk was playing most of our gigs at Rush Up on Rush Street. We would probably play there 100 nights out of the year.
In the belly of the beast, yeah.
Yeah, right down there on Rush Street. And their tour manager came to see us one night and came back and introduced himself. And nice enough fellow. We didn't know anything about Styx, but we did know they were everywhere. You know, they played these Dex Card.
I played them all. The Dex Card Wild Goose.
Yes. They played all the high school proms and the homecomings and things like that. And then every year they would release a new album, and we were like, "Who are these guys?" So they didn't hang out in the clubs where I was playing. But that meeting with Jim Bose, who was their tour manager, that's what that is how I got the gig, because I moved my band. We had just all the gigs had dried up, and I moved back to my hometown in Montgomery at the invitation of one of my buddies from when I lived there. He said, "We've got this gig down at the bowling alley lounge, and there's, disco music was eating up a lot of gigs, and so he said, there's no dance floor. It seats about 100 people, and they just want to come there and listen to music." So I moved back down there, and for 6 months, that's what I did, just 5 nights a week. I made more money than I'd ever made before, which was $200 a week. And
well, that's way more than I was making.
I have my last check from MS Funk. It was $25.
So I got a question.
I know the main thing I always emphasize is how your music and everything that has the Tommy Shaw signature on it has so enriched the world's life, the soundtrack to our lives. And John is a huge fan, and he recognizes that. I'm sure John would like to get a word in edgewise here.
I'm going to get a word in. So Tommy Shaw, thank you so much for joining us around the campfire here. Huge fan. Obviously I followed you very closely when you were Styx, and even with a solo artist and with Damn Yankees. Now, you obviously have covered a huge amount in terms of variety of music. You listen to like Too Much Time on Our Hands, or something like Girls with Guns, or something like High Enough. Which genre of music do you like the best? What brings out the true Tommy Shaw in you?
All of it. I mean, I love everything that I've ever done. I did a bluegrass album a few years ago, and it was just because a friend of mine who was working with, I was over at Billy Bob Thornton's studio, and he was playing guitar with Billy, and they were recording something, and great guitar player, and he had somehow heard me singing something, a high part on something. And he said, "Have you ever done bluegrass?" I said, "Well, I mean, I'm from Montgomery, Alabama. I've sung just about every kind of thing there is." So he said, "Well, take this song home and put a high part on it for me." So I did that. And he was the one who encouraged me. He said, why don't we write a bluegrass song? And we wrote one, and it wound up being one of the, it was the thing that started the bluegrass album. And that album became that was my mother's favorite album I ever did.
I'll bet it was. That was awesome. But that's another example, John. You talk about genres and choices and favorite musical moments. I know Tommy. I know the guys that I've been able to collaborate with, and I've been so enriched, and so, my adventure has expanded accordingly. But bottom line is, I think Tommy would echo the sentiment that nothing is sacred. We want to try it all. And not too long ago, I don't know how long ago you did it, Tommy, but you were creating some Damn Yankees and Styx music and Tommy Shaw music with this youthful orchestra in LA. Explain how that happened. I'm sure you pursued it, but explain the dynamic of that musical expansiveness that represented in your life.
Well, it's called Contemporary Youth Orchestra, and they're out of the Cleveland area. And it started with this lady, Liza Grossman. She started it, and as it is now, at least the last I heard, they covered 52 or something like schools in the area. And in order to be a member of the orchestra, and all they do is play contemporary music by living artists. And so you have to make good grades in your school. You have to be in your school's orchestra. And then you have to audition, and then you get to be in CYO. So she's got the best of the best. And she asked Styx if we wanted to do something together, maybe 15 years ago. Maybe that long, maybe not quite that long, but it's been a while. And so we said yes, and we started, they started doing the arrangements, and they rehearse on Tuesday. So every Tuesday, one of us would go down there and sit on the rehearsal and go, okay, that should have been, there were little notes that had to be fixed. And then we were going to do it in their orchestra hall, and then it was like, no, let's do it at Blossom. So we did it at Blossom.
Oh yeah, where the Damn Yankees played, and I've done 100 shows. Yeah.
And it turned out so amazing.
It was so amazing, absolutely.
And then a couple of years ago, well, it was about 4 years ago. we were at dinner up in Cleveland, and I was on tour, and Styx was making a new album, the mission that we were working on. So she asked me at dinner. We're all sitting around. Jeannie's there with us, and Charlie and Cindy, and my manager and his wife. And Liza's sitting next to me, and she said, "How would you like to do just a solo concert with CYO, and just play all your songs acoustically?" And I looked at Jeannie, and she's shaking her head like, "No way! You're on tour. You're making an album. When are you going to do that?" But I thought, if I'm ever going to do this, now's the time to do it. So,
and it was an adventure. Is one of the reasons you did it, not only because these young people were showing such promise and the discipline, and they had to earn their position, which is such a not a lost art, but is being chipped away at, that work ethic. Was it as big of an adventure musically as, for example, when you and I got together? That was a little different adventure, but you followed your guts, and what they represented in this orchestrational delivery of your chosen material, I'm telling you, it was as good as anything I've ever seen. How many kids were there? Was there like 40, 50 kids?
There were about 75.
75
in the orchestra, and then maybe 20 or 30 of them in the chorus.
Yeah.
And we had one run through in the afternoon, and that was it. All right, let's go. We did it.
Who was the guy standing next to you? I think he played some guitar and he was help orchestrating and conducting. Who was that? He was really, really good.
That's Willie Vankovich, and he plays with the Guess Who, but he worked with Jack and me when we did Shaw Blades. He was the third guy kind of anchored it with us. But he's a great musician, great incredible producer. And he produced Mission, and he comes out and plays with us if we ever do like the whole album. And now he's producing a new Styx album during the pandemic, which is very interesting. The things we're having to do. We produced our drums. Will and I were here in my studio right next door, and Todd's engineer was at his house. Todd was in his studio, and the three of us were just, Will produced the drum session there, and we brought it here to Nashville. They took it over and they ran it through the Neve console. Then they ran it that through two Studer 24-track machines. So the drums sound incredible, and that's what we've been working with. Ricky Phillips was here, played bass for 2 or 3 days. Chuck was here for a day. He played. Lawrence we're gonna be producing Lawrence from Toronto because they won't let him come here yet.
Crazy, huh?
It is insane. We had a lot of it done. We made really good demos, and a lot of that stuff's keepable, so we don't have to redo it.
So what Tommy is expressing here, John, is another, I use the word indefatigable, because every musician I know so loves the music that there's no way we're going to stop. How heartbroken are you and Styx, Tom, that the 2020 tour, you guys were probably not preparing to do a record. You were probably going back on the road this year, right?
Well, we were going to do the record, but we were going to do it in our spare time. We were going to do it during breaks. But yeah, we had just played our first little run of shows in February, and I came home and had a couple of days off. And I was packing my suitcase, and then everybody's got a similar story. I got my 2 suitcases laid out because I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks. Laid everything out. I'm in a hurry because I've got to go catch the plane. Charlie calls up, said, "Don't go to the airport." I was lucky because some of the guys that were already on an airplane when they got called.
Yeah, see, I have the same story. I was all set to go on tour. I was packing my guitars and my gun case and my bow case, and I was packing my ammo case, so I was ready to go, but then I had to just stay home.
I wanted to jump in on. I got a question for you, Tommy. And you're as a guitar player. I mean, you are absolutely incredible.
He's a monster.
He's a monster. And I think one of the most incredible things about you is how innovative you are. The album Paradise Theater musically is unbelievable and could have been arranged in any number of ways. And you guys really pushed the edge of sonically what was even going on during that time. What was that process like as a guitar player? There was so much synthesizer that was ended up being mixed in, and so much cutting edge stuff that was clearly different than stuff that you guys had done before and what anybody had ever heard. And it ended up influencing sort of that entire age of music. What was it like in the studio to compose that album?
Well, we did like to try new things and try and find some sounds that hadn't been used before. And everything changed during the Grand Illusion. Yeah. As we were finishing up the Grand Illusion, someone came in the studio and said, "You got to hear this synthesizer." And it was a 4-voice analog synthesizer. And we thought we were done with the record. So it was like, hang on a second, we're not done yet. So we put that on everything. And that was really the beginning of the innovative synths that went along with everything. And then James Young was the one who played a synthesizer guitar. And yeah, so we always enjoyed just trying to do something different. And then when whatever we did, when we sang our vocals over the top of it, it pretty much sounded like Styx.
And you're in the studio right now. How far are you on the new record?
Well, we've got all the drums, got all the basses. I've got, I think I've done all my guitars. I've done most of my vocals. I got to redo. There was one song that we were writing and writing and writing. I got to the end of it, and I had this other song, but I was just like, I was burnt out. I was like, I can't finish this song. So I kind of half-assed finished it, and so I've got to go in and do it right. And
all my best stuff is half-assed. That's how I've mastered the half-assed approach.
Right.
So, but really, and Lawrence had already done a lot of his stuff, so now we just got to. There were a couple of new songs that came around since we were all together, so we just have to flesh all that out. Really, it's just Lawrence, and James Young is coming. He's going to be here for however long it takes to get his solos and his vocals done, and who's left? That just leaves Lawrence. So we'll have that. We'll be ready to mix before you know it.
Now, I happen to know what's probably a burning question for John, and the fact that Tommy and I have never talked about this before, this is a perfect spirit campfire to unleash this question. So, all right, it's the end of 1988. I just got back from a European tour, and I was all set for the hunting season, and I'm in great spirits and ready to rock, and get this call from John Colander and said, you and Tommy Shaw ought to really get together and see what happens. All right, so as you knew that you and I were going to meet, and I guess Michael was telling us that you guys were rehearsing on your solo record at the loft where the Foreigner guys stored their equipment. Is that right? You guys were rehearsing at that time?
Yeah, Bud Prager managed Foreigner. He was managing my solo career.
And so you hear that Colander goes, you and Ted Nugent had to get together. When John Colander told that to you, I want to know what your first thought was.
Oh, sorry. Well, we knew each other. We had seen each other, sat next to each other at that record convention down in Miami.
Sure.
And so it's like, well, I didn't expect that's a call I didn't expect right there. But it was like, we were all set up in there, and Cardelloni was playing drums in the band, and so it was just, you just came to New York and here's a guitar. I don't think you even brought a guitar, did you?
No, I grabbed the weapons on hand. But I always tell the story that within minutes, because we had never collaborated and never really jammed together, but I had been watching what Tommy had done, and I always knew that he was this huge rhythmical, coming from the same rhythm and blues, soulful music that all my favorite artists represented, that all my music came from. And so I couldn't wait to see what would happen. And like that youthful orchestra that you did, and the bluegrass pursuit that you pursued, and the Shaw Blade stuff and Stick stuff and all your bands you began with, I think, if I may recommend, that you're always looking for adventure. You're always looking for uncharted musical territory, and I think that's what the damn Yankees was. If it represented anything, it was a chance to go into directions that none of us would have without the collaborative effort.
Yeah, and sometimes bands need to take a break. Jeannie just brought me some.
Well, jamming with me wouldn't qualify as a break. I promise you that.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a break, right?
Well, maybe it's the colloquialism. Well, that's the breaks, kid.
So Jeannie just brought me some.
There we are. Sold.
Ah, there we go.
She told me to mention that this was a damn Yankees shirt on a bunch of gigs.
Hey,
I pulled that out. That was the actual shirt. I mean, that was.
hey, I got everybody on
that
the-
was on one of the Japanese concerts. I remember that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, Ted, I've got a bunch of people in the Facebook room that are just dying to hear Tommy play something damn Yankees. Everyone's saying, can you play High Enough? Can you play something for me? Like, let's give our audience something.
Play High Enough, Tommy.
I'm singing Jack's part. Shame I got to live without you anymore. Fire in my heart, pounding in my brain, driving me crazy. We don't need to talk about it anymore. Yesterday's just a memory. We close the door. When you call me baby, don't say goodbye. Say gonna stay forever. Whoa, whoa, all the way. Yeah, take me high, fly me over. Yesterday. Can you take me high enough? It's never over. Whoa.
Wow.
That's my boy. That's my boy Shaw right there. I was eating my heart out when I was watching you with that orchestra. I was eating my heart out, wanting to get in there with a big old noisy birdland. And just now I wanted to play along, but I forget the chords and I'm 2.5 steps down.
Check out this guitar. You recognize this guitar from any old photos?
Oh, beautiful, man. Looks like something Elvis would have played around a campfire.
This is the same model, same year of the one that picture of Robert Johnson holding up the guitar. This isn't the actual one. Johnny Depp has that one, but this is the same model, same year. I just got it out of the shop.
Awesome. So you can play Lead Belly and Howlin' Wolf on stuff like that, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Killer. You know, I've always said that Tommy is, you know, they list the 100 top guitar players in Rolling Stone, and that Derek St. Holmes and Ricky Medlock and me and Tommy Shaw are not on it is really kind of an embarrassment, because Tommy is one of the greatest, most lyrical and most dynamic and soulful guitar players that I've ever witnessed. And Tommy, I got to tell you, every minute, and I mean this, every minute in the damn Yankees was an absolute riot. And I thank you for putting your heart and soul into every minute we played together.
That's good times. And Ted, I mean, your playing is. I tried to imitate it, and you know, there's only one of you, and you're it.
Thank God.
We did. We had some great. My favorite one, just crazy story, was when you had the flu in Japan, and you were soldiering on. You were playing those shows every night, and we used to have that thing where you would just keep playing, and Jack and Michael would come and pick you up and take you off stage. And it was going on. Jack and I had your arms, and Michael had your feet. So we're pulling you off the stage, and there's your amps going off and feeding back and everything. I hear you going, I'm like, what? And I finally heard you say, "You're standing on my hair."
Yeah, they couldn't understand why they couldn't move me. It's because Tommy was standing on my hair.
Oh my God.
but you know, if there's one word, I said this when Michael and Jack were on, if there's one word, there's a million words to describe what the damn Yankees represented in my life, but the musical adventure, the musical integrity, the musical authority that we all exuded because we all come from that American black rhythm and blues, original founding fathers of rock and roll. But the ultimate word that encompasses every minute of the damn Yankees, well, it was just fun. It was crazy, positive fun. So thank you for that, Shaw.
And thank you, and thank Jack and Michael. You know, we were some pretty excitable musicians at that time. You know, when Michael came for the audition for my band, I was borrowing my friend Mark Marshall's drum kit, and lots of good drummers came in and auditioned, and I just wasn't right. Michael came in, didn't say anything. He learned a couple of songs. I can't remember what it was, but he played them so hard, pieces were falling off the drum kit, and I'm like, and
You're hired.
and then, but I was looking at the drum kit. It's like, where is he? Where did he left? He had gotten so frustrated with auditions, he was just like, oh, screw it, I'm not, you know, and he left. So we had to find out where he was to tell him he got the gig.
He's got a lot of attitude. That came in real handy with the damn Yankees, I say.
Yeah.
Hey, Tommy, I want to know one thing. We have a lot of people in our Facebook room here going crazy that the two of you are together. I want to know that in terms of the chemistry musically between you and Ted, two of the greatest guitar players ever, two very, very different styles. How did those styles come together and sort of collide in such a positive way when the damn Yankees were formed?
It was good chemistry. You know, remember when the first day you were there, we got that. That happened on day one.
That happened in minute one.
It did.
Wow.
It did. I can't remember exactly how it happened, but it just started unfolding.
And then I just, what Tommy had was his chord patterns, and I just put little trills as we played the chords.
You wrote that first verse.
Yeah, well, and that's the spontaneity. And the beautiful thing, and I think the best music has always come when you don't have any baggage. You just want to find out what musical adventure can we collaborate on. And, you know, people go, well, what about all the egos? I'm telling you, our enthusiasm for music killed the egos. Egos played no role whatsoever. I couldn't wait to see, all right, Tommy Shaw, show me some shit. And I'm sure he would, all right, Nugent, what do you got? So it was it was a musical love affair from my monitoring the integrity of everything Tommy had performed in all the different musical pursuits. And same thing with Jack Blades. And Michael was a newcomer, but like he said, anybody that beats on the drums so hard that things are being broken, I immediately fell in love with Michael Cardelloni.
Oh, yeah.
So there was a gang. You know, we've been around long enough. I think this identity is accurate. It was like kids getting in the garage with their first amps. We just started smacking out chords, and with Tommy's unbelievable, unlimited vocal capabilities, he would strike out on melodies no matter what the chord pattern was. So it was a riot.
It was. It was so easy. Remember, I had been going through this thing with Styx. Styx was just a mess. You know, what we should have done after the Paradise Theater, we should have taken a year off. But we had changed our management at that time, and the management they didn't care. They just wanted to get some just going. But we should have gone and done some solo albums, and then you know you can't miss each other if you don't ever leave, you know.
Yeah, amen.
We needed to miss each other, but it all worked out. You know, I wound up I went to England and did my first solo album, and you know I'd never recorded an album before I joined Styx, so I really was I knew at the whole process. So, but when we started up, it was just so easy. You know, we had been trying to get Styx back together for 3 or 4 years and couldn't get it. We sat around a table outside some restaurant. You want to do it? And we went, yep, that was it. No lawyers.
We literally shook hands at a dinner table. We said we're going to be a team on this, and we're going to just let her rip. And I don't know what kind of music. There's not going to be a genre. There's not going to be a limitation. We got to do this. We got to do that. We just started jamming like kids. The beauty of it was that even though we had made a commitment, a gentleman's handshake commitment, we didn't commit to a style or a lyrical delivery. We just committed that we're going to let it rip from High Enough to Don't Tread to Coming of Age to Come Again. I tell you what, I'm a lucky guy because as soon as I see pretensions in a musical setting, I get the, well, I was going to say I get the hell out, but instead I make them get the hell out. But there was never a moment like that with the damn Yankees. Nobody ever went, well, that's stupid. I'm not playing that. Four guys that gave a damn, respected each other, and nothing was sacred. We just wanted to play some damn American rhythm and blues, rock and roll music.
And we had a hell of a lot of fun on stage.
Yeah, boy, we did that.
And that. Listen, guys, this is such a treat in here. A lot of people are dying to hear Tommy play something acoustic that wasn't originally, or wasn't recorded as acoustic, something like Renegade or something from the Styx catalog. Do you have something locked and loaded in your head you can play acoustic that people haven't heard acoustic before?
I want to hear it.
What do you want to hear? Renegade's weird to play on acoustic guitar, which is probably why I should do it.
All right.
Oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life from the long arm of the law. Has put an end to my running so far from my home. Oh, mama, I can hear you crying. You're so scared and all alone. Hangman is coming down from the gallows, and I don't have very long.
Come on.
And I'll tell you,
This is amazing.
And by the way, Tommy Shaw kills on Cat Scratch Fever, I want you to know. Well, Tom, thanks.
Come on, guys. Come on. We need a little more energy than that because that was incredible. I've never heard Renegade acoustic.
Well, that could be almost bluegrass. Except that when I start playing, I can't hear it. Yeah, well, Tommy, I got to tell you, man, I love having you on. We had a great time with Jack and with Michael. And again, I just can't say enough positive stuff about my experience with you. I really admire you as a musical force. I know I speak for gazillions of people around the world that we thank you for the music that you brought into our lives. And this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate you taking the time out tonight, man.
I love you, Ted.
I love you back, Shaw. One of these days, Shaw, this is a threat. We will end up in a room together with guitars and amps, and shit's going to happen.
Oh, well, shit it will naturally happen.
I'll tell you, I got a lot of friends in Nashville now, and though I like to stay home a lot, if and when I see Nashville in my crosshairs, I'll warn you ahead of time. Let's get together, man.
All right. Place for you to stay.
Oh, yeah, we got a place for you to stay.
God bless you and Jeannie. God bless you, guys.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Tommy.
All right.
Peace.
What a spirit campfire. Do we have a spirit campfire or what?
Yes.
I mean, dude, come on. We just got Tommy Shaw to play a Renegade acoustic. We just got, like, no one's ever heard that. All I have going on is people saying rock and roll history is made. Listen, two rock legends playing together. We used to gather around the campfire in high school and listen to this song. Now we're watching them in 2020. Like, it's incredible the amount of positive energy. And we got people from literally Wisconsin, Germany, another person from Alaska, Michigan, California, Arizona, UK, and of course, Australia and New Zealand. I don't know what it is about Australia and New Zealand, but whatever.
I know what it is. They're real shit kickers. They love real music. John, thank you very much, man. I'm going to find out how many of these spirit campfires we've done, but they're a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of feedback in the positive spirit world, and I can't thank you enough for putting this technology together, because without your technical touch, I wouldn't be able to do jack squat.
That's right. Well, that's right. On the campfire, I'm playing a very important role here. Want to make sure everybody goes to UncleTed2020.com. Make sure you go to UncleTed2020.com. I saw a whole bunch of people who registered for it. So go to UncleTed2020.com. What you will find there is a free webinar on hunting, free webinar for music from Ted. It's incredible. Ted, what charity do you want to, military charity do you want to support this week?
This is a real good one. Once again, we're going to do it again. The warriorsweekend.org. Warriorsweekend.org. And here's another one. Finallyhome.org. Finally Home. Operation finallyhome.org. And I know these are kind of quick stuff here, but if people can write this down and just make any kind of donation, even a $5 donation, it adds up. And these heroes have sacrificed so much so that we can have an Independence Day literally every day. And another thing, remember, as the chaos accumulates and continues across America, be sure that you're performing your We the People experimenters in self-government, and that you're in touch with your elected employees. I hope everybody joins us at huntthevote.org, huntthevote.org, so we can make sure that policies represent people in the asset column: God, family, country, freedom.
Absolutely. Ted, I want to, because we started just a few minutes late, I want to get a couple questions in here. One was from Mark, and he said, Ted, I'm from Dover, Ohio. Do you remember playing the prom in New Philadelphia, Ohio in '72 with the Amboy Dukes?
Yeah, it was either 71 or 72, but we did a lot of proms. In fact, here's a great prom story other than Dover, Ohio. The Who played Southfield High School prom, and the Amboy Dukes opened up for the Who in 1969 in a prom.
That's not true.
Yes, it's a true story. And that was the night I told Keith Mooney he was going to die, because he was so drunk and he thought I was a jerk for not getting drunk with him. And I went, no, I don't need any of that. By the way, you have a booger coming out of your nose and you're drooling. And you played the song really crappy tonight.
I love that. I got another one. I've been asked to ask you about meeting Sting in New York City.
Oh boy, no, it was actually in Ann Arbor, Michigan, at the Michigan Theater. I have photos of it. Okay, here you go. So it was the winter. It was a cold, snowy night in Michigan, and I was fascinated by the Police. The music was, Stuart Copeland, just an unbelievable drummer. All those guys were just musical forces to reckon with. So I went to the theater, and back in those days, I think it was 77, maybe 78. No, it was probably late 78, 79. Based on who I had accompany me. And long story short, it was a mutual admiration festival backstage. We're talking about the music and the influences. They had a lot of black influences, like all my influences. And as they put their arms around me to take a photo together, Sting grabbed a hold of some hardware in my belt and went, "Do you have a gun?" And I went, "No, I don't have a gun. That would be like having a bullet." And so he asked if he could see one of my guns. And so I turned my back and made sure that I had a license for it. And it was perfectly legal. And it was a Smith & Wesson Model 19 2-inch brushed nickel. And I emptied it, made sure he could see it was empty, spun the empty cylinder. And I handed it to him. Immediately, he cocks the hammer back and puts it up to his head.
Oh, no.
I have a photo of it. Even though we all saw that it was empty, I never hand a gun to anybody. In fact, I haven't handed a gun to anybody loaded or unloaded since then. But I knew that limeys are really fascinated by firearms because they're not allowed to get downwind of them. But he immediately cocked the hammer and put it to his head and pulled the trigger.
Oh my God.
It was so upsetting to me, even though we knew it was empty, but the gesture was so sickening to me.
Right.
And I tried not to chastise him too violently, but I said, oh, no, geez, oh, God, don't do that. He goes, that's empty, mate. Well, that's everybody's killed with empty guns. So I took it back. We finished our photos, and I was so distressed at that image that I left and I wasn't able to watch him perform. I had to go rehab myself. I was so upset that he did that.
Oh my
so
God.
that's a typical English goofball.
Wow,
I love my English goofball friend.
There you go. I mean, just to be with Sting and Ted Nugent in the same photo frame, you got to dig up that photo. I don't have nobody has sent it to me, but we got to share that at the next campfire.
I will share that.
Listen, everybody, this has been another incredible episode, another incredible campfire. Thursday, we're going to have a real treat for you. Want to make sure everyone goes to UncleTed2020.com. Ted, I have the Facebook room. We still have thousands of people watching, and everybody's saying, how can you just play 3 bars of Cat Scratch Fever and not play the rest?
Really,
you got to give
how
it
dare
a little bit more.
How dare I interrupt this ruckus? When I play the guitar, can you hear the vocals? Can you actually hear it? Or is it too loud?
It's
Can you hear
okay.
that? All right, sounds like
That was
I don't know
awesome.
if it sounded there, but boy, it sure sounded good over here.
It sounded awesome over here. All right, on Thursday, I want to give everybody a treat. I want to break down that song because you keep talking about all your musical influences from Detroit, and there might be no song that better sort of manifests those influences than Cat Scratch Fever.
Well,
Truly.
you know, I got to tell you, the foundation, we talk about honky tonk and boogie woogie. Everybody had to play. Everybody had to play boogie woogie, and everybody had to play honky tonk. That lick is in so many songs. Let's spend the night together. Now I need you more than. How about? That's all honky tonk bass. Everything Chuck Berry. It's all. All right, so honky tonk. Well, playing it really loud one day, instead of going. Which is the same lick. But I use a whole chord. And I get that bend and that quiver like a saxophone. So that's the foundation of the ultimate love song.
That is the ultimate love song, Cat Scratch Fever. If you all liked what you just heard right there, give us some hearts, give us some thumbs up. Go to UncleTed2020.com. That's just a tiny little glimpse of what you're going to get in the free music webinar. Like, Ted's full of music history and how his music came together. It's unbelievable. Not only as somebody who plays guitar, but as a musical fan, just a fan of history. Go to UncleTed2020.com. Check it out. All right, Ted, we're going to wrap it up. Any parting words?
Yeah, God bless America. God bless we the people who are in the asset column. Thank you, everybody, for joining the Spirit Campfire. Thank you, Dash. Thank you, John. Thank you, Toby and Linda and Doug and everybody who helps out. Thanks, Shemaine, my beautiful wife, from Maine. I'll leave you with these important words. First of all, the Ted Nugent Spirit Campfire is brought to you by The Hat. So go to my website. We still have a sale on the hat. I signed them personally, hence my sweaty garments from signing the hat all day. But anyhow, go to tednugent.com. But here's the parting words. Maybe this will help you too, John. My name's Ted Nugent. I didn't just write Wang Dang Sweet Poontang. I meant it. Here's your Uncle Ted tech sex tip for the day. Chew on their hips.
Oh my God.
Chew.
My God.
Chew a hip.
What are you doing? Shemaine, just shut off his computer.
Nibble on the hips.
Stop it.
Nibble the hips. I'm telling you.
All right, Herbert, come back to me. We're wrapping this one up.
Nibble the hips.
We'll be back Thursday. Herbert, play something. Get us out of this.
Perfectly legal.
Thursday, 9 o'clock.
Perfectly legal.
What kind of show is it? What kind of show is that?